I'm Dr. Chris Warner, author and fan of history, and today we're going to be visiting with Colonel Richard Voorhees, who's a fellow author, and we'll be talking about his first book on Claire Chennault, a rebel in China, the first of a series of 3 books on the American aviator. And Mr. Voorhees, Colonel Voorhees, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself before we get into the content of the books?
Well, I'm from a little town in South Louisiana called New Iberia. Its main claim to fame, I guess, is Tabasco sauce comes from there. We're wedged in between the Atchafalaya Basin and the Gulf of Mexico, which makes us the heart of Cajun country, which is a strong part of my heritage. I was educated in New Iberia, in North Alabama, and at Loyola University in New Orleans, where I obtained degrees in English and history. After graduating in 1969, I was fortunate enough to get into Loyola Law School and started on the 28th of August, 1969, and was inducted into the United States military the 1st of September. So that cut short my career as a lawyer. I did get to finish 1 year of law school. After that, I saw fit to join the United States Air Force. Somebody asked me once why I joined the Air Force and not the Army, and I told them because I looked much better in blue. So it was a very exciting experience. Got my commission through the officers training school. I was selected for pilot training, went to Moody Air Force Base in Valdosta, Georgia. Spent the busiest, most frightening, most exciting, and most wonderful year of my life getting my wings. After that, I spent 6 months of TDY training in different airplane systems. Eventually, I was going to report for duty at Cam Ranh Base, South Vietnam. And 2 weeks before I was reporting overseas, they changed my assignment to RAF Woodbridge, England. And I have to tell you, that was a tough change. I consider myself very fortunate. As a student of history and literature, I always dreamed about going to England. I thought if I was lucky, maybe one day I could go for 2 weeks and just drive around and see what it was all about. So I had 5 of the best years of my life there, got to fly the world, do everything I ever dreamed about, and followed on an assignment to McClellan Air Force Base in Sacramento, California, flying for Air Rescue still. In 1978, I resigned my commission, went to work in private industry, and spent the next 28 years doing that. In 1980, I discovered that I missed the Air Force, so I joined the reserve program. I served with the CAP-USAF program as a Category H reservist, and I served with the United States Air Force Academy as an admissions liaison counselor. So I have a good feeling for the Air Force, and as it comes out in the book, I have a good feeling for what the Academy product is like that we produce as second lieutenants. So it turned out to be providential, and it served me well in research for my books.
So I know you had told me that you flew for 10 years, you had extensive service in the United States Air Force. What drew you initially to be interested in Claire Chennault?
Claire Chennault was someone I had heard about because of his association with the Flying Tigers, but I had no real in-depth knowledge of him. I knew he was from like I was, a little town in North Louisiana. People always call him a Cajun, but he wasn't. People always call him a Louisianan, but he wasn't, because he was born in Commerce, Texas, first stop across the river once you cross the border. And I'll talk later about his reason for his family's sudden departure from waterproof Louisiana, but we'll talk about that later. I had a drinking buddy that was a flying friend. I continued flying little airplanes. And I don't know if we were flying buddies or drinking buddies, but we would talk history and the war and military tactics. And in the course of the discussion, he told me that he was friends with the director of the Chenault Military Museum in Monroe, Louisiana, a woman named Nell Chenault Calloway, and that she had been asked repeatedly to write a book. And my friend knew that I wanted to write a book and was searching around for a topic. So he talked to Nell, and she said, well, I could go up there, and they interviewed me for 2 days with a little committee that they had. And after that time, she said, sure, she would support me any way that she and her museum could. So that's why Chenault. I thought he was an interesting character. I had no idea how interesting a character and what an effect he would have on United States history. But he certainly was interesting, unique, brilliant, ornery, and significant.